Hello, RayoCyrus here with another video on careers and futurism, and today we're going to discuss how the link between education and careers might be on the verge of a revolution due to new technology. Now, I'd love to hear in the comments below if people resonate with this graphic that we show. Quite often there's education in one distinct area, there's careers in one distinct area, and in between there's this state of sort of confusion. How do you go from one to the other? So comment below if firstly you agree that you've been in that situation. So what causes this disconnect between education and careers for so many people? Well, the main thing is that education teaches you abstract concepts, very useful concepts, but we don't know what they're going to be used for. And then careers are often very specific, very vocational, and have very, strict requirements. So obviously that leads to a lot of confusion in the middle. Now, of course, there are well-known exceptions to this. There are very clear education to career pathways, whether it's in medicine, law, engineering, accounting, and these often come about because of a interest held early on, or maybe a family member, or an exposure to a mentor, or some kind of advice, and then obviously the qualifications are fairly well established over a number of years, and that path is a clear one to take. But that's not what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on those more kind of unknown paths from education towards perhaps an unknown career at the end. So this is the flow that things have taken for a very long time. You choose a bunch of subjects that interest you, you specialize more and more and more, and then once you enter the workplace, you find the career and the job description where what you happen to have studied happens to have met the current requirements for that job. There's one big issue with that. Modern careers, especially in the technology sector, have such specific, always changing requirements that how do you know the education that you received a few years ago in an academic institution is going to be relevant and desired in that end career? There's a bit of a future information lack of knowledge. I think this is a much better flow, and this is the future. Careers informing education. Ultimately, unless you're an academic at heart, you want to know what you're going to get paid for and what is in demand. And now with modern online courses, companies have started to reverse engineer the process of education. So they go to the big companies and they say, look, what skills do you want in your employees? And we will make a course that gives them those skills if you give good assurances that you will employ them at the end of the qualification. And probably the leader in the space at the moment is Udacity with their Nanodegrees. That's what I'm going to get into now. And by careers, I'm specifically talking about tech careers. So anything to do with programming, data analytics, mathematics, Internet of Things, 5G, and all the emerging technologies we're going to see over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You quickly see how Udacity is bridging this gap with courses in artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and data science. You can really see by their choice of words and their marketing and branding that they are committed to cutting out any fluff. Everything you learn is 100% relevant to what tech employers want now. For example, everything is called the school of. They're showing you that this is what school should have taught you. And even though their courses are focused on tech careers, we can actually see at the end there's this school of business, which is all of those business type roles within tech companies. And look at these buzzwords on the homepage: mentors, in demand, industry experts, real world projects. Add all of this together in an exciting career, and what does this equal to? Earning a lot. And these are some of the flagship careers that the Udacity course can actually lead you to. So we've got the business type course, like business analyst. We've got the designer, the UX design and design frameworks and websites. And then we've even got a fusion engineer, showing just how advanced some of these courses are. Wherever you want to be on the spectrum, from more design oriented to extremely technical and engineering, a course has been created that can lead you down that path. At this stage, you're probably thinking, great, those courses look super interesting, but why don't I just do them on YouTube or get some free courses? And the answer to that is there's so much more value add within the Udacity Nanodegree ecosystem. You want to work for those big tech companies, right? The household names, and one day end up earning hundreds of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of pounds. Well, this graphic should assure you of the value of the course. Look, there are household names here. There's IBM, there's Google, and there's Facebook. Now, I'm not saying that every company will hire every one of these roles, but it's proof that people who've completed a Udacity Nanodegree have found a tech role at some point with one of these companies. Now, with further research, I'm sure we can find out just how many there have been at each company, but this shows that there are huge possibilities. And let me just state that my enthusiasm for making these videos just came out about loving new educational technology and methods. So not for any commercial reason, not for any affiliation, just because if I see a great service that improves education and makes it more interesting, then I think it's great to promote it. Okay, now what we're going to do is actually go through the course list, the program catalog as Udacity calls it, because this will give us a really good insight into which careers are in hot demand and which skills are developing and becoming more prevalent in the world of work. So by all, you see these courses and we see new. So let's just see what's new, what's come up recently. There's a lot that have come up that are labeled new. We can keep scrolling down. At what point does it stop being new? Well, okay, here, so we can see what happens. We have marketing analytics, and the great thing is it tells you which skills are covered and also the level of difficulty. So beginner generally means as long as you can use a computer and word processing software, Excel, or you have the right aptitude and enthusiasm, you can pick it up without knowing any prior specific knowledge. Then we can go through and we can go to program details. We can see the reviews, and it also tells you which pieces of software you're using. So for example, I've used Tableau a lot, I've used Excel a lot. So that's a pretty normal one, the marketing analytics course. Lots of you will be aware of that as a career choice, and that's within the School of Business. Let's try and find some of the more unusual courses and skill sets, because they can give us a great insight into what these top companies are going to want for many years to come. Looking out for software as well, we've got all these tech concepts, data pipelines, specific programs and paradigms, Spark, Airflow, data science, data structure, C++, a programming language, cloud developing. Now, data visualization, this is huge. I've done this previously. So many companies at the moment want people who can visualize data in an attention-grabbing way, often through the use of Tableau or other visualization software. Turn it into a story, these animated charts that show trends changing over time. This is really, really popular. And then we get into the, almost the sort of Elon Musk type roles, right? This kind of futuristic sensor fusion engineer. Like, I don't really know what that entails. Okay, it's very specific. What it entails is developing developing the actual physical sensors that are used in things like self-driving cars to map the environment around the vehicle. So that's very much on maybe the software, but also hardware, electronics, engineering side. AI Product Manager. This is a course I've actually worked through myself, and it's a product manager is this idea of someone who looks after the development of a piece of software or an app and decides which way the features, which features to add on and which way it will develop. So this is specifically, what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that now there are enough AI startups, enough established AI companies and pieces of AI software that the market now has enough demand to hire product managers to look after these things. So in 5 years' time, there are going to be people that are in charge of the development of very complex artificial intelligence softwares, and we don't know at this stage what those will be doing. So then if we keep scrolling up, we have a front-end web developer. Obviously, that's been around for a long time as a concept. Look at this, School of Business, AI for business leaders. So that's if you want to be more on the business side. Maybe you want to influence the strategy for a technology company, work out what partnerships you could have with other businesses. And so probably a course like that is going to involve less of the actual machine learning and technical coding, but it's still rated at an intermediate level. So I'm guessing this is more for people who actually might have both maybe a tech undergraduate or graduate degree, and since then they have been in business. And then growth and acquisition strategy, that sounds very interesting, from the School of Business. And then also you have some sponsored, what looks like a sponsored course to me, so Intel Edge AI. So this is Intel's own piece of software that they use for IoT, the Internet of Things. And the Internet of Things is this concept that every device in the world will be connected via Wi-Fi or 5G and be providing information from real world devices, whether it be, who knows, cars, all kinds of devices. And then we have AI for healthcare, so there's a lot of overlap now between technology and the healthcare sector, as well as biotech, and a few more courses here. So that gives you an idea. You've got basic, intermediate, advanced, and you've got a huge range of courses, indicating where the demand is growing in the market. I really enjoyed making this video, and if you enjoyed the content and you'd like to see more from myself, RayoCyrus, on the areas of education technology, and emerging software and futurism, then please do feel free to like, comment, and subscribe down below. I'd find it really interesting to hear any comments you have down below on whether you've done a nano degree yourself, what area it was in, whether it got you into a new career, and where you think this online learning technology could go in the new future, and ultimately what its value is.